is Abdul Rahman. I'm a lecturer at a public university in Kenya. I deliver lectures in computing and informatics. In our last lesson, we discussed about array element insertion. And on to that, we had find out that array element insertion, actually it is inserted into an initialized local variable which actually hold a garbage value. Today we are going to move on to the second type of arrays, that is multidimensional array. And in that particular journey we are going to ask ourselves what actually it is multi-dimensional array, its definition, and move on to syntax, and finally implement it in Dev C++. So, onto that, let's start what is actually the multidimensional array. Actually, the multidimensional array, these are actually arrays. These particular arrays, basically, they are with more than one dimension. So, the arrays with more than one dimension. So basically these particular arrays, actually the simplest one which you can get, it is the one which you call up a 2D array. So a 2D array, it is the simplest of multi-dimensional array, which actually they have what you call, they form a table of rows and columns, as opposed to single array whereby they form up a list. So the 2D array actually, it is an array of arrays. So if it is an array of an array, so sometimes it is what we call up a matrix. So basically they are what we call up a matrix. So with that, let's go and see what it is actually the syntax. So the syntax have not changed very much from the usual array. We'll have what you call a data type, and then we'll have here an array name, and then we'll have up size. But this particular size, they'll depend, they're going to be subscripts more than one. So until subscript size more than n. So this is basically the syntax of an array. So for an example, we can have an array whereby the data type it is int, and then the array name it is a, and then we have 4 rows and 2 columns. So this is basically a row and this is basically a column. So we want to conceptualize and see how it looks like. So here basically we are having 4 rows and 2 columns. So we can have our 2 columns here, and then our 4 rows. So we'll have a 1, 2, 3, and 4. So how are they actually labeled? So here we'll have our row 0, and here we'll have our row 1, here we'll have our row 2, and here we'll have got our row 3. And here basically we'll have our column 0, and column 1. So this is how actually they are labeled. But how are they stored and how are they accessed? They are stored and accessed into, first of all, you have to understand, so how many elements are there? So our elements here will be actually 4 times 2. So here we'll have 8 elements, and they are stored, all of them, in one continuous row. So we'll have 8 elements. So it will be 1 element, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So basically this will be our 8 elements. And how are they labeled? They are labeled basically like this, that will be 0 of 0. So that will be the first one, 0 of 0. The second one will be 0 of 1. The third one will be 1 of 0, and then 1 of 1, and then we'll have 2 of 0, 2 of 1, and then we'll have 3 of 0 and 3 of 1. So this is how they are labeled, like this: 0 of 0, 0 of 1, 1 of 0, 1 of 1, and 2 of 0, 2 of 1, and 3 of 0 and 2 of 1. So basically this is how actually they are labeled. So from here, let's go and see how we are going to implement this particular row. So the implementation, first of all, they are actually initialized in two ways. So multidimensional array types of initialization, actually it is in two ways. So if we are taking up the same scenario, this particular array with 4 rows and 2 columns basically can have an 8 elements. So our 8 elements basically maybe be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. So they can be initialized in that particular manner. Or alternatively, which is preferred, if you've got A of 4 and 2 columns, we have how many? We have got 4 rows. So we'll have, this is row 1, this is row 2, 3, and row 4. So if we have here we'll have how many? 2 elements. Let's say 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8. So basically these are the 2 ways we're supposed to initialize up a multidimensional arrow or 2D arrow. So with that particular in mind, let's go to Dev C++ and try to implement up the same. So let's take one of the initialization. So here you can have our int A, and that particular int A, you can have our 4 columns and basically our 2 rows, and we can initialize using any one of them. So let's initialize using up the first one. So here we'll have our let's initialize using up the second part of it. So here we will have 10 and 20, and then that is our first row. Then let's go to the second row. Here in our second row, maybe we'll have 30 and 40. Let's go on to the third row. So our third row, basically here we have 50 and 60. And our last row, basically in our last row here, we'll have 70 and 80. So basically that will be the initialization of this particular array, which is the preferred one. So let's just print them. So here we'll have our printf. In our printf, and basically we are saying that we are saying first row So basically we are saying our first row is equals to, so here you're having 2 of them, 2 subscript, so it will be %d and %d, and after that what we are having now, we have to refer them using up the subscript as we have seen up here. So how are you going to refer them? So we'll have up an A, we'll have the first element which is actually 0, and the second element which actually it is actually 0, so we'll have 0 0, and then we'll have the second element which can be referred to as actually 0, and referred to as 1. So basically, this will be our first element, which will be here, our first element to become up 10. So we go on and actually print all the four rows. So that is row 1. So let's move on, print F, the row 2, and move row 3, and move the row 4. So here we'll have our row 2, the second row, and here we'll have our third row, and here we'll have our fourth row. So these are the rows. So let's see the subscripts. So this being up the second row, so we'll take up the subscript of 1, 0, and this one will take up the subscript of 1, 1. So the third one will take up a subscript of 2, 0, and then we'll take up of 2, 1, and the last one, the fourth one, will take up a subscript of 3, 0, and 3, 1. So basically, if we are going to print up and we are right, actually we are going to get up our values as 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70, 80. So let's just run this particular program and see how it executes. So okay, we have run this particular program, and actually our output actually say the first row it is as expected 10, 20, second row it is 30, 40, and third row it is 50, 60, and the last row it is 70, 80. So thank you very much for listening, and this one comes up to the end of our session today. And however, don't forget to subscribe into our next lesson, whereby we are going to talk about the 2D array element access. For now, bye.